Namaste. Welcome to the literature reading session. We will continue with the reading of Program for the Seekers from Talks on Gita by Vinobha Bhave. He talks about Gita as a scheme for harmonious living. And I was reading some things and trying to understand different dimensions. For us, in our heartfulness approach, each chakra is a dimension. Earth is a dimension. Ether is a different dimension, which is point 2. Fire element is a different dimension. Water element is a different dimension. So, as the ascension happens, we are mastering each region to move forward into the higher realms of the mind region and to the central region. So, I was looking at what other philosophies talk about this realms of existence or planes, or also known as lokas. So, loka can be translated as a planet or a plane of existence or a realm of existence, or it is a dimension. All these dimensions are spiritual dimensions, cosmic dimensions. In Hinduism, the cosmology, the universe is divided into 14 dimensions. 7 are the higher dimensions and 7 are lower dimensions, and in between is the earth. Earth is in the middle. And that is why it is said that even the creator, the Brahma, Vishnu, Mahesh, everybody likes to come to the earth because ascension to the higher realms from the earth is quicker, faster, even though earth is the land where we go through karma. And the destination of that soul into the higher realms is determined by the actions of the current life. So, this is why every master who came to the earth plane tried to give a way of life, a way of ascending into higher lokas. How do we ascend into higher dimensions? To ascend into higher dimensions, total purity has to reign in our being. And because of that purity, as impurities, complexities, darkness, heaviness leaves us, as purity manifests, the consciousness expands and gains momentum. The prana that is flowing gains its momentum and comes to the right frequency of the Sat to ascend into the higher lokas, higher realms. And these realms in the Hindu tradition are considered to be like populated by gods and higher beings whose state of being is of purity, truth, and happiness. So, what are these 14 realms? What are these first 7 upper realms? They are known as higher lokas, urdhva lokas as they are called. First is the loka known as bhur loka, which is earth, the physical world we inhabit. It is the central realm where we live and we perform action, and that can determine our ascent. That is why somebody as great as Shankaracharya said, It is a blessing to be born on the earth. And while on earth, it is a blessing to remember your goal, why you come to the earth. You came to ascend into the higher realms. And while you are on earth, it is a blessing, immense blessing, if you find the right guru who can guide you. Because in the earth plane, you need a right direction to ascend above to the higher realms. So the first realm is the earth realm, which is known as Bhurloka, and then is known as Bhuvarloka. That means it is the space between the earth and the sun, and it's the realm of where celestial beings of demigods, souls with good karma may reside there after death. Then is known as Swargaloka, which is like a heaven ruled by Indra. And souls who have done good work, they reap their benefit. But it is not liberation either. Followed by Maharloka. Maharloka is for sages and rishis who attained immense spiritual growth because of their spiritual austerity and practice. The next is known as Janaloka, the world of realized beings and divine sages. And that is followed by Tapoloka, a realm of pure consciousness. And this is inhabited by those who have achieved immense expansion of purity with their spiritual practice. And the last, according to the Hindu tradition, is the Brahmaloka, the highest realm of truth and the abode of Brahma, or the superconscious state. The souls are free from the cycle of birth and death. But if I really observe, compared to the Sahajmarg tradition, all these lokas are still between 0.6 and 8 or 10 or something like that. They're not very high regions. This is where Babuji Maharaj's greatness comes in, where he found the path beyond the Sahasradala Kamal, where the true godly region exists. And beyond that is the central, the ultimate Bhuma. And what are the 7 lower worlds or realms? They're not hell. Even the lower worlds, according to Hinduism, they're not bad worlds. They're just a different worlds. They are known as Atala, Vitala, Sutala, Talatala, Mahatala, Rasatala, Patala. That's how it goes. It's the world of architects. There is one world where power rules. One world where there's somebody called Daityas rule and demons rule, serpents rule. And finally, in this Patala, it is associated with the serpent beings and demons. These worlds, according to Hinduism, is not hell or negative worlds. They are called in between heaven worlds, because here the thought is completely in enjoyment of the world. They are into power, they are into enjoying the material worlds. So it is totally, the lower realms are materialism filled. And it is described that in these lower worlds there is no disease, anxiety, They are perpetually engaged in gratifying their senses, and they possess immense wealth and power, focusing entirely on the material world rather than the spiritual liberation. So, when they totally get vexed with it, saturated with it, then in their heart arises this longing for the higher liberation. And also, the cosmos has to be in balance. It is said that this entire cosmos is the 14 lokas, including all the lower dimensions and the higher dimension and the earth. It is being supported by a great serpent and Anantasesha. That's what Vishnu is supposed to be. So the lower regions are generally understood as realms that reward actions driven purely by material desire and power, and keeping that soul bound to this birth and death cycle. Somewhere the cosmic balance need to be maintained. In this, when cosmic imbalance happens, souls have to continuously evolve. They have to evolve. After one layer gets saturated, you have to go to the next layer and the next layer. And when they come to earth, most of them are saturated. They're unable to move forward. And when they fall from earth, they're actually falling further down. Earth is like a trap. Just like how illusion is God's power, which you have to transcend to experience the divine of the Brahmanda Mandal. Just like how Sahasradala Kamal is the power, Maya of God, which we have to transcend. Why is it called Sahasradala Kamal is supposed to be Satchit Anand, bliss? The Anand in the material world is at a very lower level of taste. And a worm that is just enjoying the cow dung at the very lower material realms. It has never tasted the nectar. So when it tastes the next nectar, that's when it realizes it has been in the muck all its life. It has wasted its life because there is nectar above. So, like that, when the soul gets saturated with the desires, then it's this inner longing makes it move forward into this, coming into this earth dimension. And that's why coming into earth dimension is very precious. And that is why the sages are born on the earth to help human beings from there. They cannot help you from the lower worlds. You have to transcend that on your own. And once we come to the earth plane, when we found the path, we found the method, we found the power of transmission to help us to ascend above, and a guru who can continuously transmit and take you forward. That is the biggest blessing. Because here we don't have to go through region by region by region. The possibility is there that you can ascend and cross the Sahasradala Kamal and jump into the divine region and then don't turn back. So that is why even at the Sahasradala Kamal, this trap of Satchit Anand, even that bliss is supposed to be very minute. So that is why they compare the divine bliss to union of the human beings. It's million times more. The divine bliss is million times more than the human union bliss that one experiences. So you can see the difference of joy, and it's inexpressible. You cannot express it. That is why you cannot make people come to it. You all wonder, we experience such depths in meditation, And sometimes we wish our dear ones, our friends and family can also come and experience this. But you can't convince them because it is something to be tasted, experienced. They have to go through the process. And here is where the masters help if they are willingly taking the meditation sessions. The flow of the thought that is towards the lower realms, even though we are in the earth plane, our thought is pulled towards the lower realms. That's why we are caught up in materialism. That thought, which is flowing from the Chit Lake, coming to us as Bhog, as suffering in this earth to release us from karma, that thought, Guru, with the help of the will and the pranahuti, diverts it to the next higher dimension, which is the soul. He gives us a taste of that soul, a little bit of the taste of the divine nectar. And then now this bee, the human bee that has been in the dung, the muck, starts to move towards the true honey because it now just tasted a bit of it. And this is what happens. And once it tastes that bit, it knows now it has to go through this jungle to move forward to reach home. So that is why great masters of the past have tried their best to awaken human beings to this experiencing true divinity. It is not about Vairagya. Vairagya is not because we are forgetting the material world and all that. Vairagya is a state of clarity where you are able to tell the difference between whether you are tasting dirt or you are tasting real nectar. Are you just fooling yourself thinking, looking at all the material things that we have and I am happy? Or are you really happy? Is your soul able to merge into that presence of the ultimate, which is spread throughout, and that's giving you that breeze of calmness and peace? Here, Vinobha Bhave says the Gita scheme for harmonious living. Purity of food keeps the mind pure. It also strengthens the body. One can then serve the society properly. Both the individual and the society will then be contented. There will be no conflicts in the society wherein yajna, dana, tapas are going on in the right manner and in the true spirit. Just as mirrors facing each other reflect the images in each other, contentment in the individual and in his society are reflected in each other. In fact, my contentment and contentment in the society are identical, as can be verified. One will then experience oneness everywhere. Duality and opposition will disappear. Gita is suggesting a scheme to have harmony and orderliness in society. How nice it would be if we could organize our daily life in accordance with the Gita's plan. But today there is a conflict between the individual life and social life. How to resolve this conflict? This question is being discussed everywhere. What are the proper spheres and limits for the individual and the society? Where is the boundary to be drawn? Who should have priority between the two? Who is superior? Protagonists of individualism regard the society as an inert entity. A military commander would speak gently to an ordinary sipai while dealing with him as an individual. But he will order a battalion at his sweet will as if it were inert, like a wooden block which can be moved at will. Even here, while I am addressing a couple of hundred persons, I am saying whatever occurs to me, irrespective of whether you like it or not, as if you are all an inert mass. But when I deal with an individual, I have to listen to him patiently, give an answer after thoughtful consideration. Here I take this last part of it to my heart because this is what Revered Daji talks about listening. A lot of times we just talk, 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 talk continuously, and we like to hear our own voice. We are unable to pause to listen to the other person. This, once the condition comes to a state of balance, and if we connect ourselves to that condition, we have the ability to listen to others. Thus, there are some who expound that the society is inert and only the individual is a conscious entity, while some others attach importance to the society. I may lose my hair, my hand may be amputated, I may lose eyesight, even one of my lungs may cease to function, still I continue to live. Each organ looked at separately has no life of its own. If any one of the organ perishes, the whole does not perish. The body is a collective entity. It continues to live. This is the standpoint of the collectivists. These are the two approaches opposed to each other. Your inference will depend on how you look at it. What you see is colored by the color of your eyeglasses. Some give importance to the individual and some to the society. This is because the concept of struggle for existence has come to have a hold on our minds. But is life meant for struggle? If it is so, why not prefer death? Discord and strife is a recipe for death. It is because of this concept that we distinguish between self interest and the supreme interest, that is, the good of all. What could we say of the human, of the man who invented the idea? The self interest and the supreme good have nothing to do with each other. He could create the illusion of a difference where none existed. It is indeed surprising that this non existent distinction is being widely accepted. It is like erecting a wall like the Great Wall of China, setting bounds to the horizon, and then imagining nothing exists beyond those bounds. All this is due to the absence of yajna in the life. Therein lies the genesis of the dichotomy between the individual and the society. Such dichotomy is unreal. Suppose a curtain hung in the room divides it in two compartments. As the wind blows, size of these compartments vary. They are not fixed. They depend on the wind. The Gita has nothing to do with such imaginary divisions. It exhorts us to follow the dictates of the law of inner purification. So that is the point. In spiritual journey, each one of us have to arrive at this state of inner purity. There no contradiction between the interest of the individual and those of the society would arise. Their respective interests would not then be opposed to each other. It is in ensuring this, in securing the interests of all, that the Gita's ingenuity lies. A single individual following the Gita's law could make a nation rise. A nation is made up of the individuals comprising it. How can a nation be called a nation if it does not have individuals having wisdom and character? What gives India its distinctive character? India means Rabindranath Tagore. India means Gandhi, and a few such names. People know India as the land of these individuals. Take a few individuals in the ancient times, a few in the medieval period, a few in the recent. Add them to the Himalayas and Ganga, and that makes India as it is. This is the definition of India. You may have elaborate commentaries on this definition. Commentaries only expand the definition. Just as the quality of milk is judged by the fat content in it, the quality of society is judged by the individuals in it. That is a very good point. There is no conflict between the interests of individuals and that of the society. That is why Babuji said, in one country, if there is one saint, that is enough for the divine grace to flow. Just to protect that being, divinity enters, and thereby protecting everybody else. So, Even though in our own little rooms we sit quietly and we practice and we try to transform ourselves. And sometimes we may feel lonely thinking that maybe we are being fools, but it is not true. Your sacred presence is attracting the divine grace, protecting everything around you. How can there be a conflict? In fact, there should be no conflict between different individuals as well. What does it matter if some are better off than others? Nobody should be a destitute, and the wealth of the rich should be utilized for the society. That is enough. I may have the money in my left pocket or in the right one. It is mine all the same. Individual and social life can be organized skillfully in such a way that whenever any individual prospers, everybody prospers and the nation also prospers. Still, we create divisions. But if the head is separated from the body, both the head and the trunk will be lifeless. So do not imagine any division between the individual and the society. The Gita is teaching how an action can be done in a way that is neither against the doer's self-interest nor against the supreme good. There is no opposition between the air in my room and the air outside. If I imagine any opposition between them and shut the doors and windows of my room, I am bound to die of suffocation. If I do not assume such opposition between them and open the doors and the windows, the boundless air outside the room flows into it. The moment I imagine opposition between my interests and the society's interests and cling to my house, my land, etc., I deprive myself of the infinite wealth that lies beyond me, my and mine. If this small house of mine is guttered by fire or collapses, I cry as if everything is lost. But why should I cry? What is the point in making petty and narrow assumptions first and then crying? When I say that a few rupees are mine, I deprive myself of the immeasurable wealth in the world. When I call a couple of individuals my brothers, I deprive myself of having brotherly relations with countless other individuals. But we are totally oblivious of this. How petty a man becomes. In fact, self-interest of a man and the good of all should be identical. The Gita is showing a simple and beautiful way to have perfect cooperation between the individual and the society. Take the matter of food. Is there any opposition between the mouth and the stomach? The two organs involved in eating. Mouth should provide to the stomach only as much food as it really needs. It should stop the moment the stomach signals to it to do so. Both the stomach and mouth are our organs. We are the master of both of them. There is perfect unity between their interests. Why do you create any wretched opposition? The organs in the body are not opposed to each other. There is cooperation between them. This is true for the society as well. To promote cooperation within the society, the Gita is prescribing yajna, dana, and tapas to be performed with pure heart. Such karma will lead to the welfare of both the individual and the society. A man whose life is full of the spirit of yajna belongs to all. Just as every child feels that the mother loves him, everyone feels that such a person belongs to him. The whole world cherishes such a person. Saint Ramdas has said, everyone wants such a man in their midst. The Gita teaches us how to live such a life. The Gita further says that after infusing the life with the spirit of yajna, it should be totally dedicated to the divine. What is the necessity of dedicating to the divine when it is already full of service? The point is that it is easy to say that life should be imbued with service, but it is far more difficult to achieve this. It can at best be achieved partially, that too after many births. Moreover, the actions may be full of spirit of service, and still they can lack the spirit of worship. So, this is the attitude that even Daji talks about. When we give a sitting, it should be with so much reverence that you have the opportunity to serve the other being. Any work we do, it is an opportunity that is bestowed on us to serve. So it should be done with a spirit of worship and reverence. Hence, the actions should be dedicated to the Lord with the mantra Om Tat Sat. We will stop here and continue.